On my wedding day, an old woman grabbed my arm at the altar and screamed, "That ring belonged to my daughter, and she's been missing for 15 years. The entire church went silent. My fiancé's family had given me that ring, told me it was a family heirloom passed down for generations. I looked down at my finger, suddenly unable to breathe, as security dragged the woman away, still screaming my future husband's name. I postponed the wedding that same night, ignoring my fiancé Ryan's protests that his grandmother was simply confused, elderly, prone to outbursts. But the woman wasn't his grandmother. Security confirmed she'd never been on any guest list, had simply walked in off the street, fixated entirely on the ring glinting under the church lights. I couldn't stop replaying her words. 15 years, a missing daughter, my ring. I tracked her down through the church's security footage, a diner 2 towns over where she worked mornings. Her name was Patricia. She showed me a photograph without hesitation, faded, curling at the edges, a young woman around my age, same ring on her finger, smiling in front of a Christmas tree. "That's Melissa," Patricia said quietly, "my daughter. She vanished the night she got engaged." Engaged to whom, I asked, though some part of me already dreaded the answer. Patricia's eyes hardened. "A man named Ryan Whitfield." My stomach dropped violently. My fiancé's full name. Not a coincidence, not a common name shared by strangers. Patricia said Melissa disappeared 2 weeks before their wedding, and Ryan's family reported her as having simply left town, never filing anything more than a courtesy report. I drove home in silence, questions multiplying faster than I could process them. Ryan swore he'd never heard the name Melissa, insisted the ring came from his great-grandmother, generations old, nothing sinister about it. But his hands shook, holding his coffee cup exactly the way they did whenever he lied about small things, forgotten dinners, missed calls. I'd learned that over 3 years together. I requested the original police report through a records request, waiting 11 agonizing days. When it arrived, Melissa's case wasn't closed at all. It was still technically open, listed as a voluntary disappearance despite Patricia's repeated attempts over the years to reopen it as something more serious. The responding officer's notes mentioned a fiancé who seemed unusually calm for someone whose partner vanished. Unusually calm. I read that phrase over and over. I confronted Ryan with the police report spread across our kitchen table, watching every trace of composure drain from his face for the first time in 3 years. "I didn't do anything to her," he said, voice barely audible. "She left because she found out something about my family she couldn't accept." I asked what. He wouldn't answer, not that night. It took 3 more weeks, and a private investigator Patricia and I hired together to uncover the truth buried in offshore accounts and shell companies bearing Ryan's father's name. Melissa hadn't disappeared voluntarily, and she hadn't been harmed either. She discovered his family's decades-long insurance fraud scheme and fled into witness protection after quietly cooperating with federal investigators. Ryan's family had told everyone, including Ryan himself, that she simply left, too ashamed to admit their golden son's fiancé had turned informant against them. Ryan had genuinely believed his own fabricated story for 15 years, protected from a truth his parents decided he couldn't handle. The ring wasn't stolen. It was simply never reclaimed, quietly repurposed for the next unsuspecting bride. Federal marshals eventually confirmed Melissa was alive, living safely under a new identity, unwilling to reveal more for her own protection. Patricia finally had confirmation her daughter hadn't been murdered, only hidden, which brought complicated relief instead of closure. Ryan's parents were charged separately for the original fraud, their carefully constructed family image collapsing publicly overnight. I gave the ring back to Patricia the following week, watching her hold it against her chest like she was finally allowed to grieve properly. I didn't marry Ryan. Some inheritances, I learned, aren't gifts at all. They're unfinished stories, quietly passed to whoever's willing enough not to ask questions. Who do you think deserved the truth sooner, me or Ryan? Comment below, and subscribe for more chilling true mystery stories.